Happy Halloween! Today we're going to be looking at this adaptation of HP Lovecraft's At the Mountains of Madness. Oh boy, this is so very cool. I'm really excited. I had a blast rereading the story and then rereading the comic here too. This is so cool. It's by this manga guy, Gou Tanabe. I believe I'm saying that right. If I'm not, I'm just pleading ignorance. But man, this guy is such a good illustrator. And can we just... let's spread this book out and look at this. Look at how cool that is. Oh man. That's so radical. What a depiction. And what makes this so cool is this is a gorgeous adaptation of something that's really describing things that are hard to imagine, and does such a good job of showing us all these things that don't really make sense and aren't quite right. I want to make sure I have this all centered and looking good, because we want to be focusing on this art here. Looking so good. Now I'm sure folks here are, if you're clicking on this, looking at this, you're somewhat familiar with Lovecraft and his fiction and his stories. I got sucked into it when I was probably like, what, 12 years old? 12 or 13. And it was the summer between middle and high school, I want to say, if I'm remembering right. Man, I just got sucked into it so much, and I just read up as much as I could. I was so fascinated with all the bizarre concepts and just fascinating ideas and just the absolute madness of it all. And this story right here, At the Mountains of Madness, is probably one of his most cohesive and best stories, I'd say. Like, man, this thing is just cool, and it is long, it's extended, and this thing does a good job of really doing well with the pacing. This book is beautiful, and I'm kind of keeping it here on this illustration. We don't get much color in this book here, but we got this bit of a Shogoth. And again, you know, I'm going in this with spoilers because I'm assuming you're familiar with the story, and you're not letting your first experience of this wonderful book be me yammering over pictures of an adaptation of it. Yeah, here we have all the chapters too. Really good. This book is fantastic. It is manga. You know, you're reading it backwards, but it's numbered beautifully. You can easily get to wherever you're going, and it even has this beautiful little tassel ribbon bookmark onto it too. This was a wonderful addition. Yeah, man, this book's so good. I love this story, and this is a really good way to consume it. Because I don't know about you, but I love some good artwork. And this thing is filled to the brim with beautiful art. And it's bleak. It's not fun art, but it looks so good. And you get a real good sense of that just dread. And this is wonderful here, where we get the prologue of them stumbling onto and finding the encampment and being like, "Oh shoot, this did not go well." And I love this page too. We pan out and we see this right here, and it's like, "Oh damn, what is going on?" And that's just sucking you right into this right here, man. We're going to get some gorgeous landscapes in this book, I tell you what. I love this just zooming out and showing just how massive this is and how hopeless. So good. What an opening. Like, if that was a movie, we'd already have won an Oscar. Oh, that's great. And I love that too. Like, great bold use of blacks right here. Just like, bam. title. Absolutely wonderful. And this, of course, is the flashback into the original start of the story here, with them starting up their expedition. Everybody from the Arkham, Massachusetts. So good. I love this. It's just gorgeous. And I love that we get the setup too. Like, they go out of their way to show us the penguins, which do come up again. But also kind of fun how we see the ice. It's just beautiful. And I love the wonder and the madness that we see in his face throughout the book here. Man, we're only one chapter in. But tell me, is this art not blowing your mind? Is it not just gorgeous looking? The expedition moves forward. What a page right here. Like, come on, look at that. It's just, wow. I love it so much. And then we zoom out to this. And of course here they're looking at the core samples that they got up there, and it's looking a little weird. Like, this pattern looks kind of organic. What's going on there? Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. I love this. Look at this beautiful, insane imagery going on here, where we don't know what we're seeing. They don't know what they're seeing. And like, when you're reading the actual text and they're kind of describing it, it's like, this is kind of undescribable, but it's like, here you go. And this guy did a masterful job with that. It's just so good looking. This is brutal too, right here, when he tells them to leave the dogs. Like, I can't. I just can't deal with people like that. Like, that's just the worst. Oh man. And again, we get the crazy eyes. We push forward. And you're never going to guess what happens, but the weather is not going to be in their favor. Whew, there we go. Look at that. That's the money shot. Spooky City. Here we go. We're doing a little bit of a different type of Halloween. I'm saving the Tomb of Dracula marathon for next year. We're going with some crazy cosmic horror right up in this alley. That's what I love about this, is just the absolute sense of dread you have through all this right here, because the story's spooky as hell, but the imagery here is great. I mean, it makes it very digestible. You know, it'd be really hard for me to sit here and yammer on as I just flip the pages of the text story, but having these beautiful pages of artwork to flip through as I talk about it, like, there we go, that is the backdrop. And like, it's just so cool seeing the things that you grew up reading about, and it's all abstract, it's in your mind, and then seeing it visualized. It's pretty mind-blowing, and I love it. And I'm a big fan of this adaptation here. It's just so cool. I will say, we'll get to it a little bit later in the book, but I thought it took some fun liberties when it was going into the backstory of these ancient creatures that we come across. And I really thought the depiction of the Cthulhu spawn were a little bit off kilter from my interpretation and readings and remembering, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, I ain't gonna argue, because so much of it is left to the imagination, and your mind fills the gaps. So that's another thing. It's great seeing how this guy depicts it. Like, I have never seen these elder things depicted exactly the same in any sort of thing. No matter what adaptation I'm looking at, am I looking at some art from like the old Call of Cthulhu board game D&D ripoff thing? Am I looking at some artwork that was in some old paperback? Like, is it the model that's used in the Call of Cthulhu Xbox game? Like, you know, I always see it done different, and it always looks freaky and cool. I remember being in high school and doodling pictures of it in like the margins of some white lined paper, you know. It's like, what's it look like with them weird starfish heads and the eyes, and it's got the strange tendrils. But this guy depicts them real good. And man, I tell you, these dogs do not like what's going on. And here we're getting our first glimpse of the thing, and just like, whew. But then like, no, come in this room, check this out. What did we just find? So creepy and cool looking. What kind of bizarre alien life is that? Ooh. I just get the creeps looking at this cave opening. And then we look at the head of this creature. Out of your worst nightmare. Like, can you think of something more bizarre and frightening? I mean, looking at the size of the thing, too. It could toss you around. Well, I guess it depends on how quick it is. Yeah, and I tell you, this guy's braver than me because he's all getting his mitts up in it to check it out, and I want no part of that, thank you. Oh, so creepy though. Really cool. And as the mystery unfolds, like, technically we don't know yet what these creatures are and what's going on. So if you can let yourself forget, this gets really creepy and scary. Ugh. Just imagine, like, laying some weird life form like that on a dissecting table. He's chopping it up too. Ooh. And he's fine. This tissue sure is acting weird. It's almost like it's coming back to life or something. Oof. Yeah, don't. As we saw at the beginning of the book, it doesn't end well for this exposition team. But you just have to wonder what would have happened if all of them went out there. It's a good thing some stayed behind and went the proper way. But they're gonna go back. We're gonna go back for them. I'm gonna find out why they ain't answering their radio. I tell you. Oof. But that is not what you want to come back to. Excuse me. This is a beautiful page. Oh my goodness. Can I just gush about this? Like, that's one of the great things about this story is just the barren, cold bleakness of it all. And man, this page really gets that. Just with that plain, the horizon, the cliffs. Oh man, it's just gorgeous too. Oh my God. Well, I'm telling you, this story, man. If this is your first time reading along this story, and you're doing it with me here, thank you for joining me. You're doing probably a bit of a disservice to the fantastic work itself here, but I'm glad we're hanging out. And I am so glad you're getting to appreciate this page right here, because what a double page spread. This is just gorgeous, man. And like, what are we seeing? What kind of landscape is this? It's almost enough to drive you mad. Man, so cool. Man, what a wreck. They came back to a mess. Man. Oh, 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 oh. What's his face doing way over there? And now we're jumping. I shouldn't say we're jumping. Now we're at the point where we flash back at the beginning of the book. Or flash forward, I should say. Because we saw this scene with them discovering these guys out here and what became of them. And, well, everyone seems to be ripped up and killed. They got puncture marks up on their heads. Kind of weirdly like the other skulls and debris and things that we found all up in the cave and that we do a bit later. So, like, hello. And then we got the dog and the person here all dissected and their tissues organized and scattered there. And this is just like such a grisly scene, just as we saw at the beginning of the story. And now we're moving forward, finding this right up here. This is so creepy too. I love it. Finding all these little artifacts. I love this. This is them finding money. So good. Forgive me for skipping a page there. Because that's what I want to do with this here. We're not skipping pages. We're leafing through all 600 pages of this book. So you can fast forward if you want to. The whole point of this is we're just taking some time to enjoy a spooky story with some crazy... I wouldn't really call the artwork spooky. I'd call it a bit grotesque. Maybe spooky. I guess you can use that as a descriptor, but you know. What a shot. I mean, come on. The landscapes in this book are gorgeous. Look at this with them them looking at what's carved up inside of there. Alright, we're just really getting into the alien city and we're hitting the halfway mark. We're like page 307. Whew. And the further we zoom out, the larger we see it is, the more frightening. And I love the look of the architecture from right above. Like we have this weird, almost rose pattern coming up here, and then we get more of the star shapes. So very cool. Look at this. Like, whoa. And I remember reading this shit and like what they're actually describing, and it's like hard to picture in your head because part of what they're telling you is that is just how weird and alien the stuff is, and seeing such beautiful visual representations of this stuff is fascinating, which makes this a brilliant piece of work that I think anyone who's a fan of Lovecraft's literature would appreciate. Even people who aren't traditionally comic book people, or people who are not inclined to read something like manga where you're reading pictures backwards. But you get used to it pretty quick. You just gotta kind of flip a switch in your head and tell yourself, alright, you read in this direction and you read from this side to this side here. It's similar but different. I find it's actually a lot easier to get in the mode of switching from normal reading to reading a manga for me than it is to go back. Because I know it's going to take me at least another day or so of like actual reading before it clicks and it doesn't feel weird going the wrong direction. So funny. I don't know why that is. But yeah, for some reason it's easier to get in the mode of going this way. But yeah, I love the star motif. I love how it's worked into everything, and they do such a good job of visually representing that here too. It's great. The only complaint I could really see somebody having with this adaptation, and that aren't just left up to like personal interpretation, would probably be, in fact, the whole manga Japanese reading backwards. And I know a lot of comic book people do not like black and white. I think the black and white does fit the mood and works well, but the few bits that are in color are gorgeous, where we're getting just like some cover images. But as far as like interpretation, story stuff, a lot of it is left up to what your imagination is filling in with descriptions here. And in this one, we're getting a clear visualization. But I do appreciate how a lot of the visual interpretation that we get is, I want to say, almost abstract. Like there's so much going on, there's so much for your brain to intake that it still feels alien and bizarre to you. And man, look at this tower. So very cool. I love that line too. A babble for a tongue no man ever knew. No human. So cool looking. And this is radical right here, where we're starting to see the stuff that's on the wall. And here we're getting the full page spread, which is also the image that's printed on the bound book here that I folded out and showed you at the beginning of the video. Very cool. And it's the depiction of these elder things in the time of dinosaurs and such. I'll say this, the paper's sticking together a little, but man, it is thick, good paper. I like it. It's this beautiful silver lining on the side there. I forget what they call that, but that kind of clings together and makes the pages stick a little. I love these bits where we get the all black page with bits of original text. Just like letting it seep in and focus. And we're talking about remembering reading the Necronomicon back at college. And it's kind of matching what's showing on these walls here. And that's horrific and frightening. And I had this tasseled right here because I wanted to be sure I didn't pass it up in case I somehow accidentally flipped a page wrong. But right here we're getting the full-on illustrated history of these elder creatures. So are you excited? I am. This is fun. And here they come from the stars. And what a page as they're just flying through the sky, slamming into the primordial oceans of the earth. Look at those waves crash, and just like the ferocity. I love it. That is gorgeous. And this is so cool when we see them actually like spreading out and doing their thing in the water, and you're seeing how these weird descriptions could work and act in the ocean. You're like, oh yeah, that I can see that. And look at them thriving in the water. So very cool. And like such a bizarre, weird thing to come up with. Like, what is going on in Lovecraft's head? You know what I mean? That guy had some wild ideas. And I love it too. As we're going through this, I just want to say I love that this is also through a Japanese lens. So it's very interesting. We're getting a pure American author through a Japanese lens. Because I mean, Lovecraft, he might be offended I called him American and not New England. You know what I'm saying? So the kind of stories and ideas he has seems to match up very well with what I know about the weird side of Japanese horror that I've experienced, and just how there's a bit more of a weird terror. I guess it's the lack of biblical nature attached to the horror. It's very alien and cosmic in that respect. It's coming at it from a different angle. And so I can see how they tie together in that way. But this is really cool how they're talking about these creatures engineering life on Earth, and they're making some stuff just to kind of populate. They're making some things for food because they can get nourishment without feeding traditionally, but they enjoy eating a lot more than they do just sustaining energy. And then we talk about creating these Shoggoth creatures, these beasts of burden, that the way it's described, actually, although it's in a organic tissue fashion, it's very much describing artificial intelligence, AI. Just the way we talk about it doing a thing. So, just cautionary tales, because them Shoggoths end up taking over everything and being a horrific sight. Like, what cool creatures. Really neat looking, great idea and concept. Like, just a big old thing of protoplasmic jelly. It can morph itself, it can change, and become anything that its master desires. And, like, look at them just in this vast city in the ocean. So cool. I love it. We just see them all swimming around. And as we're reading here, we're learning more about these Shoggoths, or not the Shoggoths, but these elder things here, and just all the stuff they've been doing. And they're deciphering quite a bit. And I will say, I feel like we're getting a little bit of liberties going on here. But it's very interesting and fun seeing it actually visually depicted, their society and such. and what they're doing. And just such bizarre, strange creatures. But that's kind of the point, is they're so completely different from us. And here we're learning about the funeral rites that they do, and burying their dead. And our plucky cast of characters is coming to the realization that that thing they dug up was actually a grave, and that did not bode well with what was going on. Because that grave they dug up, of course, was right outside the whole trash camp that they were investigating. But man, so very cool. And this right here is the depiction of another alien race coming to Earth in ancient times and challenging these elder things for dominion over the Earth. Because this is when we see the Cthulhu spawn here, and I'm like, well, those are just way different than I picture in my head, and this thing goes down different. Yeah, we're seeing just these giant big old, it's not like it's Cthulhu and his spawn, it just seems like we're getting a bunch of giant Cthulhus, and not just Cthulhu spawn itself up in here, as you see. So this is a really cool fight, but it's like a giant swarm of these creatures going up against one giant Cthulhu we see here, and I don't like that as much. I don't know, I just always picture them smaller and in larger numbers. But we're getting a crazy fight here. And of course, our boys just kind of give up. There's a bit of an, how do you say, an armistice. You know, they keep the old lands, the Cthulhu spawn get the new ones. They build the city of Relay. It sinks into the depths, you know the drill. Cthulhu's still dead down there dreaming. I guess he's not really dead, is he? I like how they show the weird technology they use to make things and build things, their tools. I enjoy the grotesque, strange depiction of the Shoggoths, and this is the brutal moment right here where the Shoggoths rise up against their master race and attack these elder things. Very cool. Super brutal. Of course, who do you think's gonna be victorious? But even winning right there, we got the Mygo showing up. Mygo, how do you say that? I always said Mygo, but I've heard some people call it Migo, so now I don't know. Which person talking on YouTube will you trust to pronounce it right? Don't trust me. Or should I say, don't trust Migo. What a cool page. Look at this sick war between... That's just so cool. Like, these races are just killing each other. So sick looking. Brutal. And if you forgot, this is all just markings on the wall that our characters have been reading. And it sure matches up with the Necronomicon, so like that does not bode well for us. Oh, here we go. We're getting some beautiful pieces of art, which I imagine are the paperback covers, you know, the covers for the smaller paperback volumes. And yeah, this is just gorgeous right here. Whew. It's not wholly representative of the book, but I'm like almost liable to just turn that into my like video bookmark or what they call it, thumbnail, because that's just pretty. I'll probably just end up going for the cover though. Yeah, this is a good one. I really like this one where we just see them kind of floating in the water there. Got the sun in the background. Oh, it's just gorgeous, man. I'm telling you. I love that. That is so pretty. Man, this would be an insane movie if you think about it, because I could see studios trying to shoot this on a stage or something with green screen, but like it would not be authentic or feel good. You would need to actually go out into the ice to film this sort of stuff. And what crew is gonna want to do that? Especially with the conditions you'd need to properly show what's going on, and then the sets you'd have to construct out there too. Whew. Although a lot of the interior stuff I think you could properly do with sets in a stage, but and of course you'd need to have practical effects for the creatures and things. Maybe not the Shoggoths so much, but definitely for the elder things. But yeah, this is a nightmare where they finally discover the guy they've been looking for, and he's been dissected and cut up. And they're kind of realizing that, you know, whatever did that was just being kind of a scientist too. Just doing their own experiment. Sort of like we did when we found one of their corpses. And I love these tracks that we see. But we get these creepy blind albino penguins. Awesome. They look really good. Super creepy. Oh, they're going further in. You know what's coming. Oh, this is so spooky when we see all these corpses of the creatures. They have no heads. That face when he says it there too is so good. And here we see it kind of spewing out there. Oh, so cool, so creepy. And man, I feel the frantic energy of them running right here so much. Like, no, don't turn around. You ain't gonna like what you see. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, how spooky is that? Oh, so gross, so creepy. I love it. I love this where we get the zoom in of the eye, but we have all the eyes. Oh. That is such a good page right there. I honestly feel like that would have been an ideal cover image, actually. Like, I feel like that's the instant image that pops in my head when I think of this story. Is I think of this scene in particular, and I imagine it almost exactly like that. Like, that is such a good page. So freaky. And then we run into this hall of statues. A hall of heroes, you could say. We made it, folks. Breathe a sigh of relief. Or like, I've been holding in a breath for like a good 30 minutes. I don't know about you. You know I'm kidding, because I've been talking this whole time. But man, what a tense moment. Like, that bit of that story. That's what I'm talking about. Go into this story. Even though I know everything that's going on, I always get wrapped up in the moment and the feeling of what's going in the place right then, right there in the moment. You know, you just got to kind of do a little fiddling with the switches in your head and just tell yourself, like, this is new again. Let me live it. I love this. Like, he sees something he on his way out, and it is no good. Yeah. What did you see? Can you spot it? Do you see it on the page? Where is it? Which is the part on the page that made him go crazy? I can't tell. Is it that little bit right there? Maybe it's this over here. Or is it that? But yeah, such a wonderful story. You know, they're gonna go back to civilization. They're not gonna talk about what happened. This is too horrific. People don't need to know about this. We need to discourage people from coming out here. Tell them what a disaster it is and focus on that. All the people that died. We found nothing. So we're just getting a little bit of an epilogue here, finding out what's happening to our plucky cast of characters. One's doing a little bit better than the other, you know what I'm saying. A little bit of a flash to the Necronomicon. But all in all, just a cosmic disaster. Who knows what was out there? Who knows what he saw? The world sure seems a whole lot smaller. The universe a whole lot bigger. Everything just a bit more frightening. Because who knows what's lurking out there? Whew. Them Shogots, I tell you. What a great ending. What a spooky story. Just like, oh man. Just the sense of dread and suspense we get throughout the entire thing. Absolutely beautiful. We're going to get some more artwork here, and like, oh, here we go. Beautiful zoom in bit of this page. They're just running out, being chased by that thing. So that's great that we do get that. Look at that beautiful bit of artwork, a full page there. That is just, yeah, great representation of this wonderful book. And here we have a... Here we have a bit about the creators, and I just get such a chuckle out of this page of seeing Lovecraft's name in Japanese here. And it's funny that it's HP and then all of that I can't read. I'm assuming that just says Lovecraft, but very fun. So we just get blurbs telling us about both creators. Get a little bit of text pieces back here, but and then of course your obligatory first page in a manga book in America, which is telling you, hey, you're reading this wrong, go back to the beginning, which is the end of the book, and this is the format you read it in case you're a little bit stupid. So very good, because you know, I bet I never had this problem with comics, but I bet a lot of people coming into American comics could probably use something like this, just telling them how to read a regular page. Very glad that's here. This is just a little backing on the book, because the book was just bound, so this was just kind of tacky to the back. So just a little info. And I threw out all my little paper things for my big old Berserk mangas that I had. I kind of wish I saved them now, but when I got this one, I thought to just slide it in the back. But we get this wonderful piece of art that we saw at the beginning there too. This is a great volume. I like this book quite a bit. It's great interpretation of this story. Whole lot of fun, and again, just such beautiful artwork throughout. The landscapes, the alien creatures, the interpretations and things we see. It's just nutty. It's cool. It's like, whoa. So yeah, thanks for joining me with this. Had a lot of fun. Happy Halloween. I'll be coming at you with some other stuff down the line. I got a lot of cool things I'm working on. I got my fingers in all sorts of pies. I love pie.